Hi, this is Sean Smith, and in this quick video I want to teach you the 4 most important words that'll create high self-esteem, confidence, and belief in your children. And the 4-word phrase is actually, I'm proud of you. And let me explain to you why that phrase in particular, especially the word proud, is so important to kids. We as empowered parents, really our job is to nurture the pre-installed esteem and confidence and belief that our kids come with. I mean, when we're born, we basically believe that we can have and we deserve everything that we want. And if you don't believe me, take a 2 or 3-year-old to the supermarket and watch what happens when you tell him or her that, he can't have the bag of cookies that he can see right there on the shelf. And the ensuing temper tantrum in the middle of aisle 7 will let you know that he believes he deserves those cookies. So kids really have that belief inside. And our job as parents, again, is just to nurture that belief. Now, let me explain how this works. In the imprint period, which is basically between the ages of 0 and 7, kids are listening to the language, especially from their parents and their caretakers. And what happens is, whatever they hear over and over and over again, they will eventually start to internalize. So if you as the parent keep telling your child to be quiet and they'll never deserve success, or you're not good enough, or any of that sort of stuff, even if you don't say it, but if that's the message that they get in your words or body language or tonality, then what will usually happen is they will, after a period of time, they will internalize it, and that's what they'll start telling themselves. So they will then start telling themselves that they're not good enough, or they tell themselves to be quiet and they won't deserve success, and so forth. And the danger in that is it can quickly become their identity. And once it becomes their identity, then they have something called a limiting belief that'll really hold them back forever. So on the flip side, obviously, if you provide them positive language early on in the imprint period, they will start to repeat it also, and that can become a positive, empowering identity. Just this morning, it was so cool. My daughter is building this this little fort, kind of like in the toy room, right? And she was just kind of talking to herself, and as she was building this, she goes, I'm so creative. And I thought that was so cool. She's 7, by the way. I thought that was so cool. And me and my wife tell her that all the time. McKenna, you're so creative. And it was so neat to hear that language come out of her, because now she has an identity around being creative. So your kids are going to internalize whatever you repeat to them over and over and over again. Now let's talk about the word pride. See, pride is more important than love. I mean, let's face it. You're their parents. Your kids think you're supposed to love them. You're their parents. What they really want to know is, do you like them? Are you proud of them as a person? Who they are and who they're becoming. And is that pride unconditional? That's what they really want to know. That's how to build their self-esteem in terms of how they feel about themselves. And if you keep telling them, you're such an awesome kid, and let me tell you why, then pretty soon that's going to be their internal language. And when a child is filled up internally with their own pride, they'll be so much less susceptible to other people's opinions of them, right? And they won't be seeking external acceptance. But when a child isn't fulfilled with his own sense of pride or her own sense of pride, they're going to try to find it elsewhere. And a lot of times they turn to their peers to try to get that approval. And that just makes them really vulnerable to all kinds of coping mechanisms, and it can turn into things like substance abuse and defiance and eating disorders and depression and suicide and all kinds of other, just pick how many things out there our kids are using to hurt themselves and hurt each other. And generally it's because a child isn't fulfilled inside. So you as the parent can do whatever you possibly can to give them that sense of inner pride. And in my experience, in my own journey as well as a life coach, inner pride, how somebody feels about themselves, is one of the biggest behavior drivers out there. It really dictates somebody's behavior. So you as a parent, if you can get your kids to really feel positive and empowered about themselves and give them a sense of self-pride, then you've really done your job. Now here's a quick tip that you can start implementing tonight. Before you go to bed, go whisper in your sleeping child's ear, and I don't care how old they are, go whisper in their ear, I'm so proud of you. And I love you so much, because the unconscious mind never sleeps. And it believes and internalizes whatever it hears over and over and over again. So my challenge to you is tell your parents, I'm sorry, for you as parents, Tell your kids, I'm proud of you, as often as you possibly can, at least 5 times a day. It's the absolute best thing you can do for their self-image. So until we speak again, enjoy the journey, and let's go empower our children together.